Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about Project Kickoff. It's a Claude Code plugin that is going to be used for building a software application, whether it's a web app or mobile app or a landing page or a marketing website or anything of that sort. If you were to build a production grade software, this is a plugin that you can use. I'll walk you through what this plugin is about, how you can get access to it. I will also do a live demo of building an application called ShortPay. I'll give you the fully built prototype of that application. So let me dive right in. So what it does, right? It is a Claude Code plugin, like it said. Instead of each time you start a project to build, if you're a non-technical founder or a developer, the first thing that you get stuck on is, how do I actually build the application? Where do I start from? The project is blank, and then you have to think about the technical tech stack and everything else. That a lot of questions, like, is there payment associated to it? Do you need an admin page, or do you need users who would have like role-based access or something like that? The plugin guides you through the process. It is not dependent on how well you write a prompt or something like that. It is very interactive and easy to approach a plugin, unlike most of the popular ones. If you've used something like, say, Replit or Lovable, you have to write a prompt, and then at the end of the day you get a very basic website which is built off of a template. This plugin actually builds an application from ground up, depending on what you're trying to build, whether it's an app, web app, or a mobile app or something like that. So this is the difference, right? So like I mentioned, Lovable and Replit build on top of templates, but this plugin uses Claude Code and builds the project entirely from scratch, depending on what you're trying to build. The overall process is 5-step process. You would see when I'm doing the demo that the interview is like a step-by-step questionnaire format. So it'll ask a bunch of questions and then you answer to it. So that's how it's understanding the requirement. And you can also, if you built a design already, you can import that design. In my case, I have a Claude design project that I built mostly for prototypes so that I don't have to build every time. But in some other video, I'll talk about how to build a design system using Claude Code. It's an amazing platform. I love it. I don't have any design background, but I'm able to produce really good designs with that product that Claude launched this year. So once the questionnaire is answered, the design is imported, or you just start from blank, the spec is built. This is it. If you notice, this is a typical, in traditional world, if you had like a full team of developers and analysts and everybody, this is how you would do it. But in this case, even a single person using Claude Code can do everything and still produce a great output that you would probably produce using a big team, right? So the spec is produced, and then based on that spec, a plan is built. And then once that spec and plan are built and approved to go ahead, the execution goes on. I've tested this a few times. It takes anywhere between like 30 minutes to up to 2 hours, depending on what features you're building. But once the initial few steps is done, it's entirely hands off. You can just sit and watch it build, and after, say, about anywhere between like 30 minutes to 1 to 2 hours, you would actually have a functional application. At the end, the only steps that will be left is you probably have to, like, let's say you're using a database like Supabase or Stripe or something else, you'd have to add those API keys. I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward. So the idea here is somebody with a great idea should be able to produce an amazing project using this plugin. So it follows the TDD approach, right? Test-based development, right? It first writes the test cases, runs the test. Obviously it'll fail initially, and then it goes ahead and builds and then reruns the test, and that's when, once each test is passing, that's when it's done, right? So TDD is not an easy approach in small teams, so people used to skip that. But now with AI, you're able to use that approach and go ahead and build it. What you get at the end is a working project. You can actually consider that as a MVP that you can either release in the market or go talk to your investors and raise money if you want to. So it is going to build you an application that you can take to market with minimal effort in matter of few hours. And again, because it goes through certain phases, if you want to stop and resume or anything, all the files are getting generated, and these files get saved and are in the project that you can access. So the spec and the plan drive the entire process. So that's going to be the driver. So if you happen to accidentally stop, or you want to pause the build for some reason, or maybe you hit a limit in Claude Code or something, you can pause and then still continue after a certain time or some other time. So let me show you what I plan to build today. The application I have thought about, or I generated using Claude Code, it's called ShortPay AI, right? An AI agent that reconciles carrier commission statements for independent insurance agencies and finds the money carriers didn't pay. Now, again, this is not an idea that I wrote about. It is AI generated. This is primarily for demonstration purposes. So I'm not an expert in insurance agencies or anything, but the idea here is to show you if somebody has insurance agencies background, and if they find this as a real problem, and if they want to get access to this application after we built it, I'm happy to share that application, and it's going to be for free. I'm not going to charge you money for what we're doing here as a demo. So just reach out and then I'll happily share the project. This is AI generated, but then I use Claude Code, and Claude Code did a full research of the market gap. Apparently the total addressable market is pretty large. It's $163 million market. You can realistically get a decent amount of ARR within the first 24 months. In this case, realistically, what Claude Code thinks is you can reach up to 840K ARR, which is close to 1 million. I think that's an amazing ARR if you hit the target. Now, of course, just by having a product, you're not going to be able to get there. You obviously have to do a lot of sales and marketing, and it takes a lot to get there. But then using AI, there are systems that you can build. I can assist you if you want to in how you can actually leverage AI, not just for coding, but also for sales and marketing and strategy development and anything of that sort. I'm also going to share this monetization strategy and pricing strategy. And typically, whenever I am working on any startup idea, my approach is I would want to first give out a lead magnet to generate leads, and then using that lead magnet, you generate a prospect list or leads list. And from there, you talk about, once you have a person's attention, that's when you actually will be able to sell anything. So the lead magnet is always just to get the attention, and it has to be something that's really tangible. So if you're giving away something, it has to be something that the user would actually want to use it. If they have to share, say, their email or phone number, it has to be a worthwhile lead magnet. Do not share like silly stuff, like say a prompt or just one page document or something. Try to give more valuable information as a lead magnet. That's when you can actually generate more and more leads. I'll happily share this entire document and the prototype and everything else. So everything that I'm showing in this demo today, whether it's the plugin, the document, the idea, or the demo that we're building, everything I'll happily share. Just ask for it. Shoot me a LinkedIn message or me in whatever channel you're seeing me on, and I'll share everything that you ask for. So yeah, I mean, these are all like different approaches. And again, in the first MVP, and this is what we're going to build, right? So we're going to build an agency workspace with unique email address and drag and drop upload for statements, and all these features I'll show you. And this is all about the research that's been done. So that's about this document. So let's jump right into the development itself. So I use Cursor as my IDE. I'm on a free plan on Cursor. I don't pay for Cursor itself. I am a hardcore Claude Code fan. I love the product. I'm not one of those people who try to test out every single product that's out there. I'm pretty sure whether it's OpenAI or Google or some of the products do a decent job, as good as Claude Code. But I think we've reached a stage where there's no point of trying to compare that marginal difference between products. I'm going to stick to Claude Code until I'm proven wrong that some other product is like twice as good as Claude Code or something like that. I'm gonna stick to Claude Code. When somebody says, say OpenAI's model is 2x or 5x better than Claude Code, that's when I'll switch over. If it's just 10% better or 20% better, I don't see value in moving from Claude Code, because I've already invested in learning Claude Code and understanding all the features and incorporating that into my day-to-day workflow. So I don't see value in switching applications on a weekly, monthly basis every single time there's a new model or a new feature that comes out into the market. So yeah, let me just go ahead and launch Claude Code. I always start with Claude dangerously skip permissions. I don't always keep it that way. I switch to auto mode. I trust Claude Code enough now that I've been using it for a very long time. I've never seen it go crazy or go into other folders that I didn't give it permission. So I trust that it usually sticks to the areas. But then auto mode is sort of a better approach than the dangerously skip permissions, because whenever it's trying to run, say, a shell command or something like that, it switches to manual and asks for permission, whereas dangerously skip permissions would just go ahead and run every command. So let me bring some details over. So as you can see, this is an entirely blank project. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type kickoff. So I've installed this plugin as a marketplace. Let me take a step back and I'll show you. So this, when I go to my plugins, I'd go to marketplaces, and if you see, I have this Project Kickoff marketplace. This is the plugin. I've open sourced it. Just reach out and let me know. I'll share how to actually create this, install this plugin in your local instance and start using it pretty much right away. So yeah, let me start that. I have the prompt written down to save some time. I can actually give the entire prompt. Let me show you that prompt. I can share that prompt also with you. So I can give this entire, I can just use that plugin and copy paste this entire prompt, and then pretty much everything else goes on. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to copy the first paragraph, and then rest I would run it interactively so that you can see how it would build. Otherwise, if I just copy paste the entire prompt, it's gonna build without even asking any questions, because pretty much all the questions are answered here. So let me go here. I have the plugin, and I'm just saying a brief description about this particular idea. It initially takes a while, so that skill and gets loaded and it starts building upon that. So while I'm recording it, I'm gonna run the process wherever there are these gaps. I'm gonna obviously make it fast forward to save time. So while it's doing, let me pause the video. Okay, so here, as you can see, because we gave some questions, so now it's gonna ask me questions like, what is the database, right? In this case, I'm gonna go with Supabase. Now, do we have payments? Yes. The default one is Stripe, so let's go with that. I'm gonna import my Claude design. I'll show you how to import that. I already have a Claude design built, so I'll just copy that URL. I'm going to host that on the application on Vercel. I'm going to hit submit. In the next question, ideally it should ask me for the Claude designs URL. So let me go and bring the Claude design. Like I mentioned, Claude design is amazing. I already have design system that I'm pulling it here. All right, here you go. Now, once you paste the URL, it copies the entire design system, imports the design system from Claude Design to this Claude Code project, and then these are the answers that it captured based on the information that we gave, right? So again, because we already gave some description in this one, we mentioned about pricing. We mentioned that this is a SaaS application. So that's why some answers were already captured from the description, and the ones that it could not find from the description, it asked for like database and payments. Again, some were direct, like multi-tenant and all these. So it's smart enough to understand what questions it needs answer from us, the users, versus what it already interpreted. So what's the question here? The design system ships a placeholder business set in short pay. Hash and short pays with mark read. Same treatment. Obviously, the design system I imported, its name is business. So in here, let's go with the first option. And what color system, right? So shift, cooler, carpet, fintech. So it's talking about the voice, right? So this is, I think we'll go like a corporate fintech style approach. And as you can see, it's now imported the design the entire design style tokens, everything are imported. There's a design.md file that got imported, and now it's writing the spec. All right, so what do we have here? I think let's go with the in-app file upload option. Where does the expected commission for each policy come from? Column in. Like I mentioned, I'm not an expert here, so I'm just making some guesses. Present elsewhere, derived premium. Let's go with both. And matching leak rules. Simple. Okay, so it's writing some rules for the engine. Inside the agency, what's the permission difference between principal and the operations lead? Equal to billing users, ops lead, single role for MVP. So it's sort of asking like this is a demo, so let's go with one single rule. Everybody gets the same role, so if you have access to that, you pretty much can see everything. Tier gating, book of business volume, or usage seats. Yeah, in this case, I think we should go with the book of business volume. Block new runs, report, stay ahead. Okay. And a 14-day trial. As you can see, it is building the features. It's not just trying to like bring up just multiple pages, but it's thinking through subscription tiers. It's also thinking through how it's going to actually the access restriction after the subscription expires. So all these are logic-based decisions that have to go into the code. So that's where this plugin is very robust compared to a lot of the simple ones that are, it's great. Like I love Lovable as an example. I've used it quite a bit. It's great when you're trying to put together, say, a marketing website or a landing page. It works if you're coming up with, say, a very simple 1-page, 2-page application, and you also have if you have an idea which does not need many pages and you have a Stripe checkout or something and you are able to monetize, great. I can't think of those ideas. I come from enterprise background, so I can only think about applications that really are complex, but then the upside to it is you can sell these systems for several $1,000s. Like the MVP that we are building, if I were building this for a client, I would charge anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 just for the MVP, not even the full scale product. So this is something that I still charge my customers today, and they happily pay because they see the value of the product that we are building here. Okay, the spec is built. Let's see. I am obviously not gonna go into every detail of the spec, but let me see what it's done. It's a multi-tenant, it's putting together these modules like authentication, database, payment, and everything, what decisions we made. And I was talking about test driven development, and these are what I'm talking about. These are all the tests that it wrote, and it's going to test each of these ones after they're built. Now it's going to build a plan and share that plan, and then I'm going to quickly take a look at the plan and then run execute. That's where the heavy lifting happens. Now that we have a pretty solid spec written, and then there's going to be a plan that's going to be built on top of the spec, that's where you can be sure that a wonderful application is going to come out. You will see in no time all this left panel is going to be full of all folders and code that would in the old world would have taken months to build. It just happens in hours now. Okay, the plan is built. It's a pretty solid one. Every single item that we saw in the spec, it's written down as a solid plan. And now it's gonna obviously take a while before it's all done. And as you've noticed, this no prompting or anything. There's a lot of emphasis on writing best prompts or anything. Yes, prompt engineering is great in certain situations, but when you're building large applications, it should not depend on how you are writing the prompt, but rather it should be based on what spec you're building, what plan you're writing for, and then you're deciding on what features that you want and everything, right? So those details are the ones that matter. It should not, let's say you're drafting an email. I can agree with you that you have to write certain email in a certain way and all that, but maybe a deck, maybe something else is dependent on prompts. I can agree, but when you're building systems, it's the spec that matters, it's the plan that matters. Let's do one thing. Okay, oops, there you go. So we have a fully functional app that's ready. We have a sign in and free trial. The plans are all listed here. Everything should be working here, right? Of course, it's running on my local machine. For it to run on the cloud, we have to do a few more things, which are, first of all, we have to set up the Supabase project. I have to add a few keys here, and then Stripe keys, plus Vercel deployment. I'll take care of these tomorrow maybe and run a live demo of the application itself. But yeah, it is built. In my opinion, it is 90 to 95% complete. The last 5% is small stuff that we need to take care of. Once that's done, it's on cloud, it's live. You can start socializing this app right away.